Wouldn't you say that in Arizona, given the still unresolved problems that they had with the 2020 election, the audit there is still going on, that it's more important than just about anything to pass election integrity legislation? Well, that's what I'd say. But Republican Arizona Governor Doug Ducey apparently disagrees. Last Friday, he vetoed 22 bills, including 2 of special note, one that would have prohibited the inclusion of critical race theory in training for government workers, and also one to help ensure voter integrity. It would have outlawed the mass mailings of ballots to voters who didn't even request them. I call that a good start. But it was not to be, because on Friday, Governor Ducey tweeted this, and I quote, "Today I vetoed 22 bills. Some are good policy, but with 1 month left until the end of the fiscal year, we need to focus first on passing a budget. That should be priority 1. The other stuff can wait. Once the budget passes, I'm willing to consider some of these other issues, but until then, I will not be signing any additional bills. Let's focus on our jobs, get to work, and pass the budget." End quote. Now, with all due respect, and as important as the budget is, there is some other stuff that mustn't wait, and any chance to sign such important legislation shouldn't be passed up. Arizona Republicans have only a 1-vote majority in both houses, and the Democrats, they didn't like this budget, so Republicans would have had to vote unanimously to approve it. They didn't quite have the votes just yet, so they've adjourned until June the 10th. One senator and one representative have said that they won't support the budget. These 2 Republicans are stuck on one provision, a proposal to get rid of the graduated state income tax brackets and replace them with a 2.5% flat tax. The governor's decision to veto all 22 of those bills apparently angered both Republicans and Democrats, depending on which of the bills we're talking about. Democrat Senator Tony Navarrete described Governor Ducey's refusal to sign one prison reform bill as a, quote, public temper tantrum fit for a toddler, end quote. Other bills had been more important to Republicans. One big one was the Anti-Critical Race Theory Senate Bill 1074 that would have banned training for government officials that presents any form of blame or judgment on the basis of sex, ethnicity, or race. Now, this is one of the last bills to be passed before they all ended up in quicksand because of the failed budget. And one that absolutely did not deserve to be vetoed for any reason was House Bill 2792. That would have made it a Class 5 felony for an election official to send a ballot to someone who hadn't even requested one. I mean, this practice should never be allowed. As reported by the Arizona Mirror, the legislation outlawing this was a response to Democratic election officials across the country, including former Maricopa County Recorder Adrian Fontes, a Democrat, who sought to send early ballots to all voters last year at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. A Maricopa County judge banned Fontes from carrying out his plan for the Democratic presidential preference election in March. The judge's ruling came after the Arizona Attorney General issued a temporary restraining order to stop Fontes from sending out the ballots. Fontes had taken it upon himself to do it, tweeting at the time, "We are in uncharted territory here." Yeah, all the rule changes that were made all across the country during 2020 put us into uncharted territory, all right, and we're still trying to find our way out of that mess. Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs told Fontes she understood his concern, but that he didn't have the legal authority to mail ballots to people who had not requested them. The Maricopa Board of Supervisors had determined this as well. And with all of this, it still took a restraining order and a judge's ruling to stop him. I mean, the guy even held a press conference to say that his office did have authority to do this, quote, in time of crisis. He said, "I believe it's permissible to send ballots to voters," he said, "particularly in a time of emergency that we're having now, to ensure that those fundamental rights are maintained and upheld," end quote. You know, I think I've figured out why the county recorder at the recent Board of Supervisors is not the same person who was in charge in 2020. That person is gone. Of course, we saw at the recent Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, their special meeting, that his successor, Stephen Richer, he's no prize either. He's the one who wrote the letter, unanimously approved by the board, that refused to cooperate with the audit that had been authorized by the state Senate. In December of last year, there was a story in Arizona Central referring to Fontes as outgoing Maricopa County Recorder, leaving January 1st, then saying he was taking a job as an interim chief deputy recorder in Pima County. Oh, great. Well, this background is offered to make the case that it's very important for Arizona to right the ship after the crazy 2020 election year, and they ought to pass some voter integrity laws. The least they can do is make sure that ballots aren't being mailed out to everyone on their list, requested or not, just days before an election. And Governor Ducey should have gone ahead and signed that bill, at least in my opinion, understanding that it's at the county level in key states that national elections are won or lost. Meanwhile, in Arizona, the Maricopa County election audit continues with, I assume, a little bit of a break over the Memorial Day weekend. Of course, the ballots will be secured 24/7. Now, there's really no news out of there right now, at least not that I would consider reliable. But if you keep checking in back here, I'll give you an update as soon as there's something more to say on it. Thanks for watching, and be sure to comment and subscribe to the channel below and click the notification bell for more videos. And check us out on Rumble. And if you want more of my news, analysis, and commentary, you can sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It's completely free and delivered to your email inbox twice daily. And by the way, if you're in the mood for some great entertainment, why don't you check out our second channel, Huckabee's Jukebox. Well, that's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.